how we can replace habits. Why is it hard to replace negative habits?
Easy. Bad habits are easy. It can be traced to our identity. When I think of habits, I think of our action, routine, systems over a period of time. What we think about ourselves and what we do has to align.
Positive habits, to adopt them is too hard. The routine, the system.
Make it easy, then make it visible. When we consider that our willpower is a finite resource, it challenges us to think of ways to properly manage it so that points come when we need to make decisions to either stick to the old habit or put in more effort to get new habits. We will be in a better position to act.
All right, so welcome back to the podcast. And I've been thinking, why are bad habits so hard to let go? And today I brought in my favorite person on the podcast. We have had a previous conversation on leadership and discipleship. And today we have him again, and we want to talk about how we can replace habits. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Adelami. I say I'm Adelami, the global icon. I am a content creator. I am enthusiastic about leadership and helping people become the best version of themselves, right? It's a big pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to be doing this again.
It's actually interesting because we had that conversation at that point, and we get to learn we got to learn some things from each other. And I thought, why not in this episode, because in this season, because I'm doing something called the constructive journal, where I get to just talk out things that cross-cut my mind, and I get to debunk them in real time, without script, without anything. And I thought, why not bring that guy, and then we talk about these topics. And one Sunday we are just there, and one day of the week we are just there in the Bible study, and I think you have this idea of episodes, and I say, I also had this thought. And here we are today doing, and I want us to just start talking about, the simplest of terms like habits and all that, because we know that not every person is so enthusiastic about the science and all that, but we kind of have to talk about habits from a standing point of, someone who is just trying to navigate life, and they don't want the complexity, they don't want the jargon and all that. And so let me start by first picking your mind on what is a habit and why is it, how is it formed, and we can move from there, because I think this is going to be a two-way discussion where I also
Sure. For me, when one could immediately go the route of, I read this in a book, or this is what I saw somewhere.
Right.
But when I think of habits, one of the first things I think of are routines, system over a period of time. So I would also action. So actions, routines, systems, over a period of time. So that thing that you do that becomes a routine, then in a bid for you to simplify it, this is unconscious here. You build a system to support that, and it happens over a period of time. That's what a habit is for me.
Repetition. It's all about repetition. Something that maybe started like a joke, and then it just becomes a thing, and you build a system around it, and you just do it, and eventually you do it 1 day, 1 week, 21 days, 90 days. It just becomes a part of your
exactly.
life. Exactly. It's interesting because now I'm looking back at your challenge of the 100 days and all that. I'm thinking, did that create a certain habit in you? And if you were to evaluate, what type of habit did it create in you and all that?
That's very interesting, because I was thinking about this also, and I made a video about something like this, but it wasn't how you asked me this question. It wasn't positioned like this.
Right.
And what my 100 days of posting continuously or consistently, what it sought out to do was to ingrain in me the habit of showing up. So the habit was not really like making videos or posting. For me, the habit of showing up, and it's something that got transferred from my habit of reading books every day. So it's not for me. It was like, I've read books, and we would take a look at this later in the point where we're talking about replacing habits. I had read books for, let's say, since February. Yeah, I read books from February down to October, and I just woke up also motivated by a number of factors. And I was like, okay, is it possible to transfer this habit of showing up with books? Is it possible to transfer it into making videos for a long period of time? And like the result shows, yes, it is.
We're going to talk about this maybe in another episode where we'll talk about consistency. And it's really inspiring to see that it was just, I want to show up and I want this habit to stick. And you decided, and it came from somewhere, it was inspired by something, it meaning there was a certain spark from somewhere. There must be an ignition point, and then you carried it along and you decided you're going to try another thing. And that's very interesting. And it brings me to the thought that now we understand that there is positive, negative habits. Now, positives are easier to adopt, and negatives are hard to let go. So if we were to like just plainly point out examples of, because as for me, I would say like a positive habit is something like maybe, let's say, working out, just being able to stay active in your body. That's one of the positive habits. And it can be hard to adopt, but it is like it has a positive outcome to life. And a negative habit could be as simply as smoking, right? Or drinking. I don't know. Some people would be here, would want to kill me, but smoking anyways. It has a certain thing that it kicks in the body at that moment, but it's not a long-term positive thing, right? And it's detrimental, which means it's a negative habit and it's hard to break from it. And in your point of view, what do you think in just our regular life? What do you think are some of the positives and negative habits that you see that when you look at your life itself, you're seeing, man, there's that one habit, it's very hard to let go. It's a negative. These are negatives. And we have these that you are willing to embrace, such as, just showing up. This is a positive habit because then it builds consistency, it builds discipline, it continues to expand on that. So in your life, like what are the practical, let's say, examples of habits, positives and both negatives?
Okay, for in my life, I would identify now that I haven't done this is like a fresh one. So showing up is one of those things.
Yeah.
Also, a habit of at this point, I'll call it a habit. It's a devotion to growth. Always wanting to. For me, I'll call it a habit because I'm always seeking out knowledge. Reading books is also one of those things.
Yeah.
Right now, it's one of those things I do every day. Like I know that it's now I'll say it was beaten into my system because it wasn't something that, like you mentioned, like working out. These habits are not things that you would easily say pick up. But remember I said systems.
Right.
Then over a period of time.
Right.
So you have to create a system that helps you to sustain that habit over a period of time before it becomes ingrained in you. And a lot of the time we think of habits as something like just very, very, very like large or something. Sometimes doom scrolling is also a habit. Most of us don't just recognize it as such. Doom scrolling is a habit. Eating too much or eating when something happens is a habit. Sometimes, say when you're sad or something, then you default to it. So you find out you find out that you're doing it unconsciously. That's a habit. So I'll just stick with the. But for me, one habit that I am actively in the process of letting go, and I've been able to record progress, is getting off YouTube. Remember, I mentioned that I am very committed to growth. On the other hand, I understand that I get distracted very easily. So it's easy for me to switch from watching a video that's going to help me in one moment, and once that is done, then I move to watching another video, binge watching like a manga recap that goes on for hours, right? So for me, what I did to help me deal with that is I just altogether deleted YouTube from my phone. So I don't use YouTube on my phone. What I do right now is I use it on my laptop only. So I know the only time I can have access to YouTube is when I'm seated in front of my desk. So and if you look at my YouTube on my laptop, it's Dumbified, right? There's a particular plugin I use, so it does not give me a feed. I don't have feeds. It does not recommend anything to me. So I can only search for what I want to see. It does not tell me, oh, this is what we think you'll be interested. I don't want that, because then it just shows me things that, oh, I get distracted and then I just slip into that place of. So for me, these are some things that I've identified as positive habits, and on the other hand, negative habits. The reason why these two for me are major ones is because to an extent they are, let's say they are opposing each other. So me showing up or me being consistent, and on the other hand, me being distracted. So I think they are perfect examples as to a positive and a negative in my life.
Powerful. The interesting thing, I asked this because what happened is, there's that essence. I realized that phenomenon where when you start lying about something, you have to somehow carry the lie and just continue, and it becomes a part of your life, unless you choose somewhere to break the chain. And that means that lying itself is a negative habit. It's a negative behavior, and you carry it.
Yes.
And it's so hard to let it go, because you continue to build upon what the foundation that you made. And I think this changed how I see things. And I was thinking, okay, how does such a little thing that starts as, as tiny as possible, like, just lying or just always skipping something, and you look at it, you just 365 days later, you're like, wait, did I just become that person that I said some years ago that I'll never become? And it's sometimes out of the fear, maybe, or how would people see me, or I will lose everything that I have and all that. And so it made me reflect on this aspect of habits, and that's why I wanted us to talk about and see what we can construct out of it. Now, the challenge is, when you mention the negative habits, let's say it was easy, was it easy? No, but you try to dumbify, let's say, your YouTube, so that you don't continue to doom scroll, because you're fighting this habit of scrolling and all that. But it's not that easy for all of us. It's not that easy for everyone to just, whatever the negative is, you, like, in 2 seconds you're able to fight it off. But then how do we begin to, let's first try to understand, why is it hard to replace negative habits? Now we are going into the podcast theme altogether today. Why is it very hard now to replace bad habits? Meaning, in this same essence, it's like we are just trying to rephrase the statement and say, why is it sometimes hard to adopt the positive habits? Like, yeah. And I just want us to try and think, and I want to hear hear your perspective. Why is it, like, sometimes how you say YouTube, probably at some point you are telling yourself, well, I don't need to delete the app because I can manage. We say that we have free will, but free will is actually at some point, should we say, exhaustible. In the book of deep work, you can see that they remind us that willpower is an infinite resource. So why is it so hard to, like, replace bad habits?
When I heard that question, the first thing that just came to mind is, it's easy. Bad habits are easy. And easy here is relative, right?
Yeah.
The reason, because on the flip side, good habits can become easy. But the thing with bad habits, the reason why it's easy right now is that the system that supports it makes it very, very seamless. And we are wired in a lot of ways to default to what gives us ease. We don't want to challenge the status quo. If we're doing something like doom scrolling, and you're like you said, we can then come up with so many excuses to help defend our habits, right? I go on YouTube, but I learn educational things from there, but this is where I'm growing from. And so, because it's easy, we can come up with excuses to support the reasons for our actions or our inaction as to trying to curb the habit. So bad habits, I'll say, one, they are easy. Also, our identity is then attached to it. So bad habits can be traced to our identity.
Right.
So I've been fascinated with something called cognitive dissonance for a while now, and I've just been looking into it. at the basest level, what we think about ourselves and what we do has to align. That's why we feel comfortable doing certain things. But once we begin to do something and our identity does not align with it, or what we believe ourselves to be, or who we believe ourselves to be does not align with it, there's going to be like a friction.
Right.
So there's a dissonance there. That is why after a while we will drop, because our identity has been fixed to a certain action. We know that this, so being the global icon, this is what I do. That can either be a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
So in case of bad habits, once our identity has now been fixed or reconfigured to fit a particular narrative as to what we do and how we act, the moment we start to want to pick up a better habit or a good habit that helps us, there is like a fight within our system. Why are you doing this? This isn't you. This isn't what you should be doing. Stay with what we know. Stay with what is easy. Stay with who you are.
Relax.
Yeah, exactly. So just relax. It's not that deep. Just why are you trying to shake up the system? So the fact that it's easy and it then grafts itself to our identity. That's what I'll say, two reasons amongst many others why I think it's very hard to let go or replace bad habits.
Powerful. Like,
yeah, what do you think? I know that you've
it's pretty. I think I walk with you down the thought of like habits. They are easy, and our minds are tuned to want something that is like very easy, doesn't cost us a lot, doesn't take us out of the comfort zone. Because in one book I was reading about the cost of free, and I even talked about this in the previous episode of this podcast. And it's like our minds, whenever you hear the word free, it's like your mind is just fixated on the word free, and you not look at the cost of attaining that free. We'll tend to ignore. And so negative habits, I think they are kind of in an essence a free labeled thing, but it's within our mind, because it's like, well, the outcome, if it's the impact is not, the consequence is not immediate. And so, I might as well do that. And I think this could be another reason that the consequences attached with sometimes doing the negative habits, they are delayed. You get it? They are somehow delayed. And so that delay period allows us to, enjoy the moment. The dopamine kinds of kicks in, and you're just like, forget about everything. It won't happen. At least when it comes, your mind is telling you, we will be ready. And I think that leads to us holding on to the negative habits as long as possible, because we want to continue to experience that positive feeling that we're experiencing immediately, and ignore the negative, long-term negative impact. But also,
I think you mentioned something about before I spoke. You mentioned something about willpower. Willpower is not infinite.
Yeah.
So it's not an infinite resource. It's a finite resource, which means that in every day, there's only an extent to which you can exercise your willpower against certain things. And once you've exhausted that willpower, the moment something else comes to challenge that which you already hold to, you will not be able to say no to it. So you just slip back into what you already know, because some of us have we've exhausted our willpower, and then we cannot just say no to doing that bad habits. For some people, like we'll carry on with the idea of smoking, or a guy who is trying to let go of smoking or drinking. So you see some of them, let's say after work, and then you are stressed from all the mental tasks that you've engaged in during the day. And then at night, you're just hanging out with friends. And once you're hanging out with them, you guys go to a particular place. And then because you're so tired from making decisions throughout the work day, the moment they just ask you, you might just say, no, let's just try to, I'm trying to fight against it. But after a while, because willpower is a finite resource, you eventually give in. So that point, that we'll probably speak about that in future, because all boils down to systems that you've set around yourself. So you default to systems. So if we track back, if it was a case where from the moment where they ask you, would you like to hang out? You say no. That means you are putting yourself out of the environment that would probably condition you to slip back into those habits. So I don't want to get too ahead, but I think when we consider that our willpower is a finite resource, it challenges us to think of ways to properly manage it so that when those challenges or when those points come when we need to make decisions to either stick to the old habit or put in more effort to get new habits, we will be in a better position to
act. That's true. And I think one of the other reason why bad habits stick around, it's hard to replace them, is I think the feeling, the outcome. Like it's kind of bad habits somehow help us to escape the moment or reality, our trouble. And I got this also from the way we were talking about how you do something, and at the moment, like let's say you're using drugs, at the moment it somehow helps you. I like the part where you say, let's say you are stressed all over the day, and in the evening you feel like your brain doesn't no longer want to be in control in making the decision, and you're just like, let me just give it in. And so I think one of the challenges also of letting go of bad habits is that essence of it helps us to sometimes escape reality, escape the moment. And we're just like, as long as this thing is helping me to stay away from what is happening in my life, I think I should uphold it. I think, and this can be even in, I believe, I don't know, I've never been married, but I am imagining as a guy, is that essence where, like, the stress that awaits you at home, and you're getting comfort somewhere else, and you're just like, as long as let me stick to this. It's something like that. And or reading, like you know that reading is a good habit, but that scrolling allows you to not use much of your brain because
you're not thinking too much.
So why choose books which are going to make you like think, and you have to kind of relate
much energy and time.
But and now the thing is, social media has been placed in a way that you feel like you're always learning, but at the same time it's like you're not learning. Like there's
it's
abundance
an illusion.
It's abundance of knowledge, but at the same time the retention capacity of the mind has been somehow played with, and it's not working. And I think that's also one reason why it's so hard to let go of the bad habits. And I'm curious also, like adopting good habits, I think they are too hard. It goes back to the easy part of the negative habits. The positive habits, to adopt them is too hard. The routine, the system, you said, I think we'll talk about this in the ways to replace the habits. But good habits are always just so hard. Someone tells you, if you want to have a body like this, you have to eat like this. If you want to be spiritually strong like this, you have to do like, even Jesus says, this cannot go out except by fasting and praying. Now, Jesus, but you are like your God. So it's easy for you to say it's easy. And so I think this is a double-sided, where the bad habits are easy to adopt, and the good habits are so hard to adopt. And now let's think. Let's say for a person who is listening to this episode, they're probably the mind is tired. Also, I want to tell them that you should not forget to subscribe if you have reached here. But
subscribe.
I want to know now, what can we do differently, right? As young people, right? As we are trying to navigate life and all that, and we are juggling. On this side, we are juggling research. On this side, we are juggling entrepreneurship. On this side, we are juggling career development. On this side, we are juggling personal development. But then these negative habits tend to be very hard to replace. The habit of reading, the habit of not reading, doom scrolling, let's say, the habit of maybe engaging in using various types of should we call it stimulants, or the habit of just lying itself, or the habit of just talking bad about people, the habit of the lack of discipline itself in the things we want, because we so much want good things. I so much want good things, but at some point I know that sometimes my discipline fails me, right? I know at some point that my integrity fails me. I know at some point that my view, optimistic view of life, and I become more pessimistic, meaning the adoption of the pessimistic behavior fails me. So how does Prince, now the global icon, Adelami, how does he replace the bad habits in the in the essence of striving to become better? How do you manage to replace the bad habits despite the challenges that we have already said that the bad habits pose to us, or the good, should we call them the positives of the good habit of the bad habits? Yeah, how do we can we do you think how do you think practically, how do you replace, because we are not talking from just air.
All right, I'll give two, right? And I'm sure that maybe this must have been mentioned before. Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Right.
It's a good book. I truly believe it's a good book. And if you're not a fan of reading books, I think you should get into it for one. But while you're still working on that, hopefully one of the things that we'll share here would motivate you to get into reading books. There's a video on YouTube. It's titled, the name of the channel is called Escaping Ordinary. And they did an amazing job with breaking down the book Atomic Habits.
Right.
So anybody can go watch that. Escaping Ordinary is the name of the channel, and Atomic Habits, they broke down that book, and you feel as though you read the book even though you didn't read it.
Right.
So, but again, I would say read. It would help you. So one of those things that I'm applying is making it easy. We know that normally the brain does not like just introducing new things and all that. It likes the status quo. It likes to be safe. It likes to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is make it easy. If you right now in front of me is just beside I have my guitar.
Right.
So it's like in the corner of my eye, my guitar is there. What that does is first, so the 2 points I was going to share is make it easy, then make it visible, right? So the visible part is, look at my guitar is here. I can pick my guitar at any time and start playing. One of the reasons why it's hard to replace some of those bad habits is because the good habits that we're trying to, again, we know that I think it's clear that it's not like you can just stop bad habits. It doesn't exactly work like that. Right. Life does not operate in a vacuum. You have to be doing something. So that's why I believe it's called replace instead of just stop. Right. So you replace. So you fix it with something. Right. So like I was saying, I have my guitar here. On the other hand, let's count with me. 1, 2.
Like a lot of books on the table.
Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that should tell you, without further ado or without further talk, that should tell you one reason why I read a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. 8. So that should tell you why I read, because
right.
For me it's not something that I still have books, say, on the shelf, but it's a case of, if I want to read, I don't have to say, I need to read now, and then I have to walk somewhere to go and pick the book. It's right here in front of me. I have my lighter, I have my pencil. I can immediately, so everything I need is in front of me.
Right.
If I want to play the guitar, the fact that I'm looking at it, it's not tucked in a bag somewhere. It means that I can just pick the guitar and play a song or two, right? So my gym is closed right now, but if I want to go running, my running shoes are under my bed. Like, if I'm going to my bed, I can just sit there. My gym bag is outside here. Yeah. So it's not like I'm putting it at the back of somewhere that would make it hard for me to reach it, or that would keep it out of sight. Right. So when you make, for the good habits you want to replace, for the bad habits you want to replace, you would make it hard. So sometimes when I'm using my laptop, my phone is not here. I might probably just tuck my phone somewhere, and the fact that it's not in my line of sight means that I can just time block for a few hours, and focus on what I am doing. Sometimes I just take my phone and just fling it, like just towards, like just fling it towards the side, let it just land somewhere. And for the few hours where sometimes I would be like, oh, where's my phone? I can't find it. I can't, because on purpose, I made it hard for myself to see it. So the quote says, out of sight is out of mind. It is very true.
Very true.
Once something is out of your sight, there's chances are that you forget it. So I'm just able to set my focus on whatever I'm doing or whatever is in front of me. On the other hand, if you make it easy, some of us, we want to start going to the gym, and then immediately we set a target of, oh, I'm going to start with 50 reps, or I'm going to start with 2 hours every day. You're just setting up yourself for failure. For some people, the way your bad habits of living a sedentary life has hooked you, what you just need to do is just get out of the house and just walk to the gym and walk back. That is a win for some people. That one is considered a win. Just walking to the gym, you didn't do anything. You just walked there and walked back. Is a win.
Yeah.
So for other people, it might just be go there, and once you get there, just walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and walk back home. That's a win. But once you begin to set up goals that are too hard, like, oh, some people want to start reading books, and they're like, how many minutes should I be reading? 30 minutes or one. I'm like, bro, chill. It's not that deep.
You want to do Pomodoro technique in the beginning.
I love for you to read, but just don't shoot yourself in the leg. Start with 5 minutes every day. Just pick up a book. There are days that, even with how much I think I read, there are days that I'm so tired, but because I've built a system of always showing up, what I'll do is probably I'll just pick this up and I'll read three pages. They'll say, 3 pages, isn't that too small? I showed up. That's what matters.
Right.
So, and on the days where on my highest, I've recorded 3 hours consistent reading, 7 hours consistent reading. And it's not because, oh, I just wished it, but the fact that you build up to a certain level, you make it easy at first. Life is, they'll say life is not that hard. It's not that hard, actually.
Don't complicate life.
So, yeah. So, and on the flip side, you make the bad habit hard.
Yeah.
So for me, there are certain sites on my phone I cannot access. I like K-drama. I like to watch Korean movies. I like to watch anime. I like to watch manga. I like to read manga. So, but what I did is I purposely went to my phone and I blocked the sites. I just typed. There's a way you do it on your iPhone. You block the site. Meaning, if there's a day that maybe my routine self would just maybe pick my phone and type in the sites to go and read the manga, I'll just find out that it has been blocked. And the whole process of going to unblock it is just forget about it. Okay. That's why I put it there in the first place. So 2 things: make it easy, make it visible. I can guarantee you, because these are things that have worked in my life, are working in my life. So if you make that habit that you're trying to replace, make it hard. If you're smoking, get it out of your house. If you drink, rid your house of all drinks. Don't if you're trying to learn something, bring that thing close by. If you're trying to read more, get a physical copy. It could help you. If you're trying to say stop lying, get friends that would help you be accountable. And you also condition your environment to help you not to like lie or to eat too much. Or for me, that's one thing that I just had a lot of snacks, but I don't even right now, for some reason, because it's out of sight. Those snacks that probably I'll just snack on at night while I'm still working, I don't eat them as much anymore because they are out of sight. Now it takes work for me to just pick it up. And that part of your brain wanting something easy, you'll be like, instead of going to pick the snack from where you kept it, just forget about it and drink water and go sleep. That's how it is. So I would end with those.
Make it easy, make it visible. Make it easy. The more you make the positive habit, adoption of the positive habit easier, it means the harder you'll see the negative habits. You'll be like, that's too much. That's too much work. Why was I even doing it? And I think this aligns also with the thought that I had. The way that I had was to replace the negative habit with a positive one, like intentionally. If it's a habit that you have, you just find a replacement also. And I think in that manner, when you replace it now, make it easy for you to continue to do that positive habit. And I think that's a powerful way. And Also, I was thinking that as we were saying, make it visible. I remembered, and you even mentioned it along the way. I think another way is to find accountability. Someone who can help you, if not someone, then something, I guess. But an accountability route where you are able to say, I'm committed to doing this for the next, let's say, 90 days or something like that. And I think that was one of the methods that you decided, you're going to show up on the internet and you're going to let the internet be your accountability space, whereby if I don't post, I'll come back and confess, like, I failed. And so if it's the journey, like it's that essence whereby if you are trying to do a habit and you have an accountability place, it's like you can go three, and if you fail, you're able to say, let's go again from the scratch, because that person is there, or that thing, that system, which I think for now we have social media and all that. And if you're an online person, I guess that's one of the ways we can use as an accountability. And the other thing that I got in my mind as well was just that, there's this essence whereby I like the way you said a book. You open a book and you're just like, okay, so I'm ready to build a reading habit. Let's do it. 30 minutes straight into the book. But it's because what? I saw it on Instagram, right? I saw it on TikTok. I saw Prince doing it. I saw someone else doing it. And I just want to do the same way that they did. Meaning I am copying. And I think one of the easiest ways to not to replace the negative habits is to not copy someone else's method in replacing or dealing with some habits. Like, it's not a bad thing to try and learn their method, but exactly copying and pasting it to your own scenario, it could drain you, because someone
we have different nuances, complexities in our lives.
Right.
The person that you're comparing yourself with, they're not in the same headspace as you. They probably may also have recorded a level of success in other things. So our lives are very nuanced, our lives are very complex. So to just try to copy and paste somebody else's result into yours can be detrimental. For some people it works, and I'm happy it does for you. But that would also take away the part of self-awareness, because the point is not just to replace a habit. The point is to understand why you think the way you think, or why you do things the way you do them. And the knowledge you gain from that experience can then be applied to other things. So if you know that this is something that triggers me, that causes me to slip into this habit, the process of working on a new habit, or the process of replacing with a new habit, equips you with knowledge that is peculiar to you, knowledge that is directly yours, so that when you are applying it to other places, you are factoring in other things or other experiences that make you. It's not belonging to the influencer, it's not belonging to any other person. So I think that's a very good idea. The part of understanding that it's not just a copy and paste thing. If people ask me how many hours do you read, how many minutes do you read, I don't exactly like to tell people. If you're trying to read, start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes. I know that no matter what your environment is, it can support that, at least that base level. Okay, start with reading 10 pages a day, start with reading 5 pages a day. So instead of telling you that, because if I tell you that, I read 30 minutes or I read 1 hour every day, you wanting to copy that is going to it might just wreck you. So I just choose not to do that.
That's powerful, because today social media has made everything seem like we are all equal, but at the same time it's like we can all do the same things similarly. But it's like, no, someone has been doing something for some years and they're easily showing you just it in 1 minute, telling you, I wake up, I do that, and you're like, from tomorrow I will wake up at 5, I'll do that. My brother, enjoy. And I think the other thing you mentioned along the way, which can be also a big thing, as a big way to replace the habit, was environment. I think environment matters very much, because if you're trying to replace a habit, and it's many of the habits that we do today, they're somehow influenced by the environment also that we are in. Meaning the environment can condition our minds to, if I'm in this place, then there's a certain type of way I feel and I would want to do something. But if we're able to attune or retune our environment, and we're like, okay, in my house, the arrangement of things is like this, but I think you just highlighted as how you have books, you have a guitar somewhere, meaning you're refreshing your environment to match the thing you want to do, the goal that you want to reach, the habit that you want to replace. And I think that made me think that environment is very important. Environment matters. And the other thing I had as a way on my side of replacing habits, I think, is just the essence of celebrating, and rewarding yourself, creating a reward system whereby uh, the global icon said, you can read 5 minutes a day. And so whenever you have hit that milestone of 5 minutes a day, what do you do? Because your brain, when you give, our brains are attuned to, they're like, we will deny this and all that, but our brains are somehow very much ingrained with motivation. Like, you need to motivate yourself. And the way, the more you motivate yourself is the more you're telling your brain, like, tomorrow, do it again, so that we can get the reward. It means the brain understands now. And I think it goes along with the way that you said you learn how to, to do things your own way. Like, I know I have 5 minutes and it might not be a very big win for someone else. But to me, it's like I did something. If I look 5 years back and I look at my year today, me today, I'm like, man, God has been great, and we have done a lot. And so I ought to somehow pause and just celebrate these wins that I have had. And especially in the context of habits, it's very important, because the more you celebrate that positive habit, doing it, it's the more you're telling your brain, tomorrow, let's do it again, so that we are celebrated. And it goes along with the I think the accountability, because imagine someone telling you, man, that was good, keep it up. And so you keep on doing, And
I think that's underemphasized. The fact that I think even for books or any habit, sometimes even the motivation that comes from the moment if I do this thing and I tell somebody about it, the person is going to say, oh, they are proud of me. The person is going to say, I did well. The expectation of that alone is a form of motivation. The fact that for me, it's like, I don't exactly like to look towards it. I don't like to just bask in it. But if somebody tells me, oh, how long did you make videos for? And I'm like, oh, nothing much. It's just 100 days. It's just that's small.
Yeah, it's just I try.
It's like you think also you would not understand the fact that you are accountable to people and they see you do it. To you, it might just have been like, oh, this is nothing. I'm doing another one already, but for somebody that will hear you doing it, just wow, it really 100 days. Wow, that's awesome. So you hear, oh, it's awesome. Your brain is then like, wow, I think it's a good thing. Let's do it again, so that we get that level of
let's break the record.
We'll get that level of just that sense of achievement again. So it's a powerful thing. Accountability is a powerful thing. It's like shame, like that's one thing that does not allow that does not allow us to start things, right? Shame and fear. On the other hand, when people praise you, it could be a powerful motivator.
Right. When people tell you, man, you're so good, you're inspiring me, keep going. In your mind, you're like, I'm also struggling, but though it's okay.
But I mean, I'll take it when it comes.
What can I say? Yeah, this is interesting, and I think we are learning that of the 7 things, I think 7 almost reasons of replacing habits. You mentioned, make it easy, make it visible. And then we said find accountability. We say don't copy and post. Replace it with a positive habit intentionally. Then the environment matters, and I think we should learn to reward ourselves. So thank you very much for sharing these awesome insights. And I think my thinking train is almost at its final stages. But if you have anything like that is peculiar to you on how you deal with habits or something like that, I think it's also like a resource or something. It's good that we share it with, let's say, my younger brother listening to this episode, or my nephew, or my friends, or something like that, and they just get to learn, okay, Adelami, some of the resources that he has used to build this to because replacing is just, these are just tactics we are saying, but there are probably some resource accompanying things that we can now we have personally used, and we we could just help someone else out there by sharing some of the things that you have used.
I want to share something.
Right.
Before I do that, there is something that just hovered at the back of my mind. It's been there since we started.
Right.
And it's the question, who are you? Right? I mentioned something about identity. Look, we usually act at the base level. We usually act based on who we think we are.
Yeah.
I've been saying, my name is Adelami, I'm the global icon. I've been saying it now for, let's say, over a year, right?
Over a year, yeah.
Just constantly hammering it. So it's like, people might think I'm just saying it to them. I am saying it to myself too. Each time I say it, sometimes I ask myself, who is Adelami the global icon? What does Adelami the global icon do? What does Adelami the global icon look like in terms of discipline? What are some habits that he has? So based on, now I believe that about myself totally. I know I am the global icon. So based on that which I believe about myself, it makes it easier for me to do certain things. So there are some things you will not catch me outside doing. Because my identity has been wired in such a way that I am now thinking, my body, my mind is thinking of ways to act in line with what I already believe myself to be.
Right.
So that's why in James Clear's book, you'd see he speaks about not just setting a goal, but making it personal. So instead of saying I'm going to work out, say I live healthy. I am somebody that works out constantly. That is who I am.
Right.
I am somebody that I do not lie.
Right.
I do not eat junk food.
Right.
So I give my time to discipline. So once you build from that place of identity, also you find that you then begin to seek out ways to live in alignment with that which you have said about yourself. This is powerful. This is very powerful. Understanding who you are, say, okay, once you say something about yourself, you can then live in that direction. One application that's helping me right now in terms of resources it's called Opal, OPAL. And it's an application that helps me to, for me, it shuts off my applications, some particular applications, say things like WhatsApp, Instagram. I don't have YouTube anymore. So WhatsApp, Instagram, other applications that I normally would visit. So I know Instagram, I usually post on there, but I don't have to post till evening. So I have no business there during the day. What it does is that it's simply WhatsApp. I'll say that. So sometimes I want to go and reply messages, but everybody that I'm usually replying on WhatsApp, they're 7 hours behind. I can only reply other people on WeChat. So instead of going there and spending so much time there, I use the application called Opal to help me. It just locks the application, basically. Just locks it. I'm not able to access it. And in terms of accountability, you could be accountable online. For me now, there's this application also called Fable. I just got on that yesterday, and I think it's a good one. I'm going to still use it more often because it's for book reading. For me, there's a book club that I have. I operate it on WhatsApp. It's not as active as I want it to be, but in terms of, say, accomplishments, or in terms of when people accomplish something and it's directly tied to your efforts, how that can motivate you. It's amazing. It's like when I see somebody on the group post that, oh, I finished this book, and I'm like, oh, really? That's awesome. So you see members of the group who have read 3 books this year, who are on their 2nd book, and these are people who normally would be struggling with reading. So just that WhatsApp group is like, it's a forum, it's a hub where some of us just come there. When we're reading, we put updates as to where we are and what we're planning to do. We ask for recommendations. So for me, this has 3 resources. So Opal, Fable. Fable is a group where you just put the book that you're reading on. You can drop reviews also. Then you can join communities also that would help motivate you. I'm on one community created by OC for working out. Even though that my gym has closed now, the only thing I just do is walks. But when I see my counterparts walking up and down the stairs, I'm like, what am I doing in my life? So that in a way is a form of, look, the fact that sometimes when you see people doing things that you're wanting to do consistently, there's a way it challenges you, depending on who the person is. Some people take that as a way to bury themselves, but for me, it's like, challenge that, bro, you can do that also. So get off your bed, get off your chair, and walk up and down the stairs, or just walk around the neighborhood, get some steps in. So accountability will do you a lot of good.
Powerful. You know, that essence of, like, you see people and you know them and you're just like, they're ordinary people like me and they're doing it. Why am I being the only one who is failing at this? And I think it's a very good idea. And I think people can join also your WhatsApp group, your book club and all that, in case someone wants to build their habit of reading, And I think it's interesting, the resources that you just provided. And I believe that the listener can also try to use some. And always the listener also can let me know. You can also let me know what are your resources that you're using to fight some habits and all that. And in my side, I think I read more. I like try to read more whenever I'm trying to learn something, a habit I'm trying to fight against. I try to read about it more on how various people do it, and seeing what are the strategies that they use and what strategies can I use. And I think reading is one of the is one of the good thing, I think, that I do not regret ever the habit that I do not regret creating or following through, because it then helps you to learn a lot, because not everything is in video format and all that. And I think it's very interesting that you have to have these resources and all that. And accountability partners is one of the things which you just mentioned. Accountability people or the community, whatever it is, but as long as it creates the essence of accountability into whatever journey that you are engaged in, I think it's worth trying. It's worth adopting. So thank you very much, the global icon.
So let me add one more.
Let's go.
I unblurred my background so that you guys will see there's a frame there.
Is that the 10 Commandments given to Moses?
It's a quote, "The Man in the Arena" by Theodore Roosevelt. I think that's my favorite quote.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole point, the point that I'm trying to make is have visual cues. Visual cues around you that reinforce the habits that you want. Like you said, if you try to get information about, let's say, the habits that you're trying to whether drop or like take on, right? So when you have visual cues that help you to reinforce, because like I said, motivation can always fade out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that it's like this, you said, mentioned something about a spark that caused me to start to start making videos in addition to other things.
Yeah.
It's not just based on the spark. If I just relied on that initial spark, nothing would have, I probably would have just fallen along the roadside, but I coupled it with other things, visual cues, right? So what I have there is a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, and while I don't have the whole thing memorized, I know at the end that it says that at least if he fails while daring greatly, so that his place will never be with those cold and timid souls who never knew victory nor defeat. For me, that always just rings in my head. It's like, I'll never be a cold and timid soul. I will try at least. So for me, in terms of showing up, that's a visual cue to help me understand that, bro, you have no choice. You have to show up. At least try. Then if it doesn't go well, you cannot say that you did not try. So that's one thing that I believe will truly help you. Get a visual cue. For some people, they usually have affirmation frames in their houses. Some people usually have vision boards. For me, I also have something like that, right? Just a picture of who I want to be or that thing that I want to do. So for some people, if they are going to be working out, they can have pictures of guys who are ripped or jacked, just have them as their wallpapers and all that. So I think that really helps, because then you know that, again, like you said, if you see somebody like Prince, see somebody like Emmanuel, and you're saying that, this guy, I know them, I go to church with them, and they're doing something amazing, and it's not, I interact with them. I know they're smart, but they are not so smart that is out of this world. They're just ordinary people like me also. Once you have cues like that to help you set your focus on where you're going, it's going to do wonders.
Powerful.
That's all from me.
Thank you very much.